Hi friends, it's Steph. Well, I have exciting news. Look, we have walls. I almost made a huge mistake, y'all. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. So I wanted to show you a couple of things that I've been working on. And one of them is this trim here, like this particular trim. I remember I got it at Hobby Lobby. In a package like this. It was just a big long strips. There was 4 strips per package. And so I was going to cut some more and I was going to paint them blue because this brings me to what I had almost forgotten. This other side of this wall here to the kitchen, I had to finish that and I was not even thinking about it. So got that done. I got it painted and I'll show it to you in just a little bit. But I was going to put trim around that window in the kitchen and I thought I was going to paint it blue. And so I wanted to just show you a little trick when you're painting little flat pieces like this. If you just take, let me move my camera a little bit. If you just take a piece of masking tape, and I love painter's tape, so I use it, fold it on its side of itself to make like a little tube. Stick it on whatever you're working on. It could be a piece of paper, it doesn't have to be anything. I just use this little cutting mat that I got from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Oh, y'all, Walter's trying to get some attention. Hello, Walter, go lay down. And so what I did, was I just tape these little pieces down, and they're easy to paint. I don't get paint on my fingers or anything else. It does get on this, but like I said, this is just a little $1.25 mat that I use for everything. It's got glue and everything on it. And I only got one coat on, thankfully, before I realized what I was doing, because I can save these and maybe use them for something else. And then you just peel them off, and they come off super easy. And the paint doesn't peel off or anything. I will tell you too, when you're painting things like this, only make one pass at a time, let it dry, because you see, all it does is pull up your paint as you go over it. So don't go over it more than one time or you'll just frustrate yourself. So just do one little coat at a time, one stroke, and then as it dries, it'll also dry pretty quick because these are very thin coats. So just a little tip, if you're painting stuff like this or little bits and bobs, this little tape trick is a super good idea. Helps you just to keep everything in one place, keep your hands as non-messy as possible. So I ran into a few problems today, and that I'm not ready to make furniture today. But the good news is next week all of this will be done and all we will have to do is furniture. Now, I want to remind you, we get caught up in these little things and, oh my gosh, that's not perfect and that's not perfect and that's not perfect. Well, let me just tell y'all, friends, when you finish a project like this, you see, I didn't finish down here because what? That's going to be covered. Nobody's going to see it. When this room box is filled with all of the fun little mini items, because really, guys, that's really what we're here about, right? Your eye is not taken to all of the issues that you may find with your room box. And we're all have that little perfectionist streak in us and oh, this just looks like garbage. I just can't even believe I did this. So don't beat yourself up about stuff like that, because this in the whole scheme of things is not even going to be what people look at. They're going to be looking at all of the little things in the room as opposed to the walls and such. That's why we take an approach of using this foam core board, because for one, it's easily accessible to everybody. Number two, it is very inexpensive. Will not cost you $90 like a wooden dollhouse will. And even some wooden room boxes are super expensive. So this is an easy way for you to make as many miniatures as you want. It's so easy to do. You can make this as big as you want, as small as you want. You can have just 2 walls and have a little corner room. You could have 4 walls. You can make it an enclosed thing with opening and closing doors, or you could hinge the front so that it opens and it's easily to be played with or just looked at. So this to me is such an easy way to get your love of miniatures out and be able to do it and not sit back and say, oh gosh, I wish I could afford another dollhouse because I finished this one. No, you can work on more than one at a time because it is so simple. I think I paid $25 for 10 huge sheets of, I think they're 18 by 36-inch foam core board. Y'all, I've only used 2 or 3, I think at most, for the general store and for the Lucy apartment. Now, we haven't done the kitchen yet, but that'll only be 2 walls and a floor because we've already got the 3rd wall here. So, don't get caught up in the perfectionism of this, because this is going to be all covered up. People are going to say, oh, that's cute, but they're really going to come in and look at everything that you've done in the room. Okay, I will tell you another thing, and I think I told y'all this last week, but a sharp X-Acto knife and cutting foam core, game changer. Oh my gosh, y'all. So the top of the living room was not even. So I was like, oh boy, okay, I'm going to have to fix it because that would drive me nuts seeing part of the wall sticking up. That's one of those things. I cannot do that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I laid it face down with the doors on the table. I took my ruler and drew a line at what I needed. I had marked it first. Y'all, that X-Acto knife cut it perfectly. I had no issues whatsoever. Again, use your metal rulers. These things are amazing when you're cutting with an X-Acto knife because it protects your fingers. I hold up like this so that my fingers aren't, you know, over the edge or anything. And I butt my X-Acto knife right up to the edge, and this keeps it from slipping. So definitely you need, these are needs. You know, I don't often tell you guys to go buy stuff because I get it. We don't have to go buy a whole bunch of stuff to be miniaturist. We do not. I like to do this as minimally as possible. I have decided I'm like a semi-homemade miniaturist. I don't know how many of y'all ever saw semi-homemade cooking. It was Sandra Lee back, I believe it was the 80s. I'm hoping it was the 90s because if it was in the 80s, I'm going to feel really, really old. But you know, she would buy store-bought things and mix them, and she would put some homemade stuff together and come up with a meal. Well, that's kind of how I approach my miniature builds. There's things I want to make, but there's also things I want to buy. So I feel like I'm a semi-homemade miniaturist. That's my new title, y'all. But definitely need a metal ruler, sharp X-Acto knives. The 2 of those things together, $20. And you've got yourself going. I also do believe the miter shears are a must-have. Okay, another problem I came up with. Y'all, I just can't with this. Oh gosh, I just dropped my piece of paper that I need. Sorry, I moved the camera. Okay, I'll tell you about the paper in just a minute. So, I made the curtains. Well, then I couldn't get them to stay how I wanted them. So I thought, brilliant me, would Mod Podge the curtains and they would be stiff. Y'all, look what these curtains did. Can y'all see the spots? So I'm going to remake these. And maybe what I'll do with the next ones is just hairspray them. I can still use my rod, so I'm not worried about that. But these aren't usable. I tried scraping it off, and I wondered, I may try to soak it and see if it'll come off with just some soap and water, and then I could just start again with these. But I didn't take them upstairs with me to try to do that today, so we'll see. So curtains, that's why the curtains are not in, y'all. And then on the sheer curtains, I got blue paint on them. Like, what is wrong with me? So, silliness. So, yeah, there's blue paint on there. But I think that I can just use this piece here and be good to go on that. I just did not work on curtains today. I was busy working on these walls. And so what we're going to do this evening, we're going to do 2 things. So these corners are a little unsightly. I don't like how they look. So I think I saw Ara do this on Bentley House Minis, but you just take a piece of paper, and this is just a little thicker than paper. It's a bit of, it's not quite cardstock, but it's what I use to cover these edges of foam core. So I just cut 2 to the size I needed. And they are going to go right in here. We're going to glue them. This one comes up a little bit, so I may have to trim it some. And we'll just push them into that corner, then I'll paint them gray, and they'll blend in just fine. But it just makes those corners not look so ugly, because they do. The other thing we're going to do, and I'm going to do these papers first before we do this, but we're going to put the carpet in, y'all. So this is what I ended up going with. These are just felt sheets. I think they were, oh, what size is this? 8.5 by 11, probably. 9 by 12, something like that. So I just got these at Hobby Lobby, I believe. They sell them at Walmart, Michael's, and online. They have tons of them on Etsy. You can find so much felt on Etsy. But I felt like this matched kind of what I was going for in here. And again, once the furniture is in, this is not going to be a focal point. So I'm going to pull this piece of tape off. I very carefully taped because I was worried. The tape sometimes pulls the paper from the, and see there, it tore it a little bit. But that's going to be covered up. But it will tear your paper, your foam core paper layer. So I'm very careful that I was worried it was going to peel the paint off, but it did not. So that's good. I do have the backs taped as I glued the walls up. I like to tape them just to reinforce them a little bit. I also have a paint bottle holding this one up. But it's been sitting for several hours, so it should be good to go. So the first thing I'm going to do, and we are going to use the carpet tape trick for this felt as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue. Y'all know I love this stuff. In fact, my bottles are getting a little low, so I'm probably going to have to order some more. And I'll turn this so you can see what I'm doing. I just have this corner sheet of paper. And I'm just going to go down with the glue. This is going to be messy. It's going to get all over your fingers. But if I can get it all over my beautiful fingernails, y'all will be okay. We'll be okay. It washes. All right. So let me get, I got enough glue on there, I do believe. And the tricky part is just reaching in there and getting it in. I moved the carpeting because I want the carpet to cover up the edge of that. I'm going to move it in a little bit here so you guys can see kind of what I'm doing. Let me turn it a little bit. There we go. See how you can see through that? There's a little light shining through there. But I'm just going to take this piece of paper, put it down on there. And I did make a crease in it before I put it up so that it would sit nicely in the corner. And I'll just run my finger along the edges, get my nail down in there. If you don't have fingernails, just use, like I could use one of my skewers. You could use a little piece of wood and just take it down in there. That actually does really nicely. Rub it so that your paper's nice and flat so you don't have any buckles or air bubbles in it. Okay, and then now what I will do is, once that's completely dry, I don't want to paint over it if it's not dry, but see, now you can see we have a nice finished corner there, and it'll just clean things up a little bit. All right, let's do this other corner over here. This side here warped just a little bit, but again, let me see if I can show y'all how it looks. I don't think I can. Let me take the camera off so I can show you a little bit. But if you see here, it just warped ever so slightly there. Now, I pushed it back in, so hopefully the warping is not as noticeable. But when you go to put these walls in, if you have some warping, it's going to be a little tricky. So I just manhandled it. It was okay. Got it pushed in there and it did fine. So, but that's why you're going to have gaps in your corners when you use this foam core, because it just isn't going to be perfect. And they don't butt up together very nicely, especially if you have a messy cut with the foam core. You know how it get messy when I use a non-sharp X-Acto knife. Lesson learned. Our next one's going to be beautiful. But that really makes a huge difference. And remember, you know, if you don't want to buy foam core boards, you can make these out of cardboard. Like if you get a box from Amazon, you can make a whole little house or a little vignette or a little scene from a cardboard box. If you go check out Queen City Minis, she just did a cute scene in a little cardboard box that her cat food came in. I mean, it doesn't get any cheaper than that. You're already buying the cat food, right? And oh my gosh, she made a beautiful little vignette with scrapbook paper, and I think she used clay or plaster of Paris. I had never seen anybody use plaster of Paris the way she did, and it was pretty cool. So this is a little bubbly, so I'm just going to press it, make sure that they go down nicely. If it ends up after it dries, if it's still a little bit, I will just take a paintbrush with some glue and get it up in there and use something like this little piece of wood and mash it down really nicely so that I get a good adherence, and then I can paint over it. But like I said, I'm not going to paint it until after it's completely dry. Now, one thing that I did do, let's focus here on the carpeting, is I came in, I laid my carpeting down, and just kind of measured a little bit where this fireplace is going to be so that I can cut that, okay? Now, one thing that I also thought about is baseboards. Well, one of the problems, y'all, that I did, because I did not think this through. Y'all know sometimes I do things without thinking. But this door here goes all the way to the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'll just run the baseboard up to the door and around and the side. The kitchen door is also not quite up high enough for my little baseboards that I had, because y'all know I love these little things. I did not even ever think that I would want these, but they're beautiful and they're amazing to use. They're super simple to cut with miter shears. And I'm sure you could probably cut them with an X-Acto knife. It's just, they're just kind of a little tricky because they're bumpy, but it won't fit under the door. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a coffee stick and then a narrower piece of stick. I don't know if I'm going to cut a coffee stick or what yet. I haven't decided all that yet. Y'all know I have to think things through first. Just to give it a little decoration, but I may not. I may just do the coffee sticks and be done with it like I did with this door and not worry about it. I think I may also put coffee stirs around this door just to give it a frame out. I just think it's looking a little dull right there. And it'll just make it pop a little bit more and make it look more natural, like there's framing around the door. So did not do that today. But so what we're going to do here, and this thing is taking a beating. I am also not going to carpet inside this little space here because, again, that piano is going to cover all of this up, so we're not going to have to worry about that. The curtains are going to cover up any imperfections in here. I will come back in and put our paper in. I always do that last after I've finished a build because it just finishes it off nicely. So I cut this to fit all of these little sections here. It will have 3 little sections, but again, after the furniture's all in, you're not going to be able to see those seams or anything, or they won't be as noticeable. So, not going to stress about that, y'all, because in the end, does it matter? No, it doesn't. So, first thing we'll do is this one over here. Let me turn you guys a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I have my carpet tape right here. This is just carpet tape, and everything in the universe sticks to it, including my dog's hair. It has a protective layer over the top, and then when you peel it up, you can see the it's like a fiber type thing, and it's made for laying carpet. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a few strips in here. I'm not worried about it being perfectly secure. So we're not going to stress and worry about that. We're just going to put a few pieces down. I just thought this would be less messy than glue. Sorry, I'm trying to grab scissors here, y'all. Look at this. It's all metal and needles stuck to it. Okay, let me cut that. That was awkward. Okay, I cut it wrong, so let me try again. There we go. We don't want it going over the edge. Okay, so that one is cut. Let me throw that piece away. It's so sticky too. It will stick to you. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to peel it. And I'm not going to worry about painting those 2 pieces of paper and getting it on, because it's a simple little paint job, so I'll be just extra careful with it and neat with it so that it looks fine. Now, make sure that you get this lined up, because once you get it on that tape, it's going to stick. Now, it is going over my edge a little bit, but I'll go back in with my X-Acto knife and clean that section up just so it doesn't hang out there. All right, so next will be our bigger piece, and this is just going in the middle of the room. I'm just double checking for fit. I want to make sure, so I'll pull this one out. I'll hang that right there. If only were this easy to lay real carpet, y'all. Wouldn't that be nice? All right. Let me move this out of the way. For this one, I'm going to do a couple of strips or more. Let's see. Let me see. My camera's in my way when I'm trying to cut this, so it's a little awkward. All right. 2 of them. And I think I'm going to do one more. Let's see. Yeah, one more will fit perfectly. All right. And I looked at all colors of felt, and I just really liked this one. I felt like it had a carpeting look to it with the variegation in it. I thought that was super nice. I had looked at a cream color, but I thought it was just too bright. I just didn't feel like that was what I was going for an apartment flooring. I just thought it was just too much. So, super simple. How quick is this, y'all? Let me peel this tape back. That's probably the hardest part, is getting the tape off. Or the paper. What do you call that? I don't know what you call that. But getting that off. Let's see. There we go. And you guys, we are only, I think, 9 away from 1,000. I'm so excited. Thank you all so much. If you know anybody that just loves miniatures, or you're in some miniature groups and you think they would enjoy what I do here, please share. I would love to get to that 1,000 mark. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, let's lean this up a little bit. I'm going to fold this up a little bit so that it doesn't get stuck all over. Oh, look, I almost forgot to take the thing off. Yeah, it is 9 by 12. Ah, I got one thing right today. All right. So let me go up in here. Maybe I need to fold it this way because it's kind of hard. I'm sorry if I'm blocking. I can't see what I'm doing on the camera. I just want to make sure it's butted up as best as possible. You'll hear it. You see it's hard to move it once I get it down. But I think that's good. Because we'll have a desk over here, the couch will be here, and everything. So I think we'll be good. And I think we have a chair that's going to go over in this area too. So it'll be covered. It's good. All right. And then we have this last piece. I'm not going to just put this one in just yet. I want to make sure that I've got it good here and on the side of the fireplace and here. So what I did, let me show you. When I went to cut this, I just took my pencil. Okay, I just have a little, these are those one pencils that you can take it out and put it in so it's always sharp. I love these for crafting, for drawing, for anything. These are my favorite pencils. You can get them at the dollar store, you can get them at Target, Walmart, wherever you want. So, I'm just going to make sure that's all good. I'm going to mark on here where I need it to go. Okay, then what I'm going to do, you see my little marks, I'm going to take my ruler and line it up. Let's see if I can see those. Let me bring it out here in the light a little bit. There we go. Lay this across here and give it a good drawn line there so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then what I will do, I will just take my scissors. You could use your blade, you could use an X-Acto knife, your utility knife, whatever. I have these old scissors. Funny story, I stole these from my best friend when we were teaching together, and now they're at my house. So that means I brought them home from my classroom, even though they were not mine. Y'all, I'm starting to develop a pattern here. You know, I stole those things from my daughter, and now I stole those, and so we'll do another dry fit. Okay. Now, I have a little bit of a gap right back here. I don't know if you can see it. It's hard. This thing is so huge. I do have to pick that piece of tape off. There's just a little bit of a gap right there, so probably what I'll do is I'll take a little piece and trim it and just glue it down right there. There will be a chair there in that space, so it's not going to be so noticeable, but I can take and just fill it in with a little bitty piece. I might have to do that right here too, because look, of course, I cut it too short, y'all. But not very much, just a little hair. So I'll just take another little piece and glue it there. Now, when I was at the store the other day, I absolutely forgot to look. I was going to look in the jewelry section because I thought they probably would have something here. I did, one of my viewers suggested like a fruit bag, you know, those little mesh bags, but the only one I have has big, huge holes, so I don't know that it would work, but I have not tried that yet. But it may be what's up next because I don't have anything else to use. So I'm going to see what I can do with that. All right, now I'm going to try to peel off this piece of tape and not wreck everything. Let's see. Well, maybe I got to go up from here. I don't like that. These boards, I will tell y'all, take acrylic paint really well. And you can see there, you see the light coming in through there? That's what the foam core board does. It does not line up exactly because it is finicky to cut and everything and then glue to the other board. But I think for the most part, we've got pretty good. It does seem, my table has a little bump right here in the middle, so I don't know if it's the foam core board or if it's my table. So we're going to go with it's the table and not the foam core. All right, so I think I'm going to go this direction with this piece and just come in here. Oh, it's stuck to me. Put one there. I think with this piece, because I've got to get it here in this fireplace, I'm just going to take one of the coverings off at a time so that I don't make a mess with it. Okay. Ow. This stuff is so sticky, y'all. I'm not even kidding. You can see. It's crazy. Put a piece here. I'm going to put a tiny piece on this side of the fireplace and on the other side of the fireplace so that that little notch goes up in there. Oh my gosh, y'all, this stuff is sticking to me like crazy. Let me see so y'all can see here. Okay, put a little piece right here. And I think, y'all, this is the most exciting time of a room box build, is once you've gotten the walls up and it really feels like you've accomplished something, because that's how I feel. I feel very accomplished with this build. I've been waiting to get these walls up, ready to, because the fun part to me is the decorating part. I just want to get the walls up, be done with it, and go on to the fun stuff. But you know, with the fun stuff, you got to do the work first if you want to have fun. So, isn't that how life kind of goes too? All right, let me pull that one up. You see, I'm just going to do one piece at a time. Let me get this back here a little bit, make sure. All right, I did not get it right. Let me fold this up so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit. Because I definitely want it lined up with this piece here. Okay, so now I've got it in there pretty good. You see how it's gonna look. I feel like a real carpet layer, y'all. Okay, I could not do this for a living, though. I don't think I'd be very good at it. I could just cut and stick with some scissors. All right, let me get this piece up. All righty. Okay, do this next one. I'm going to go ahead and do both of those. Okay, we're going to pull this down here. Okay. And then this little last one. This one's going to be tricky because it's in a little bitty spot here. I probably could have gotten some tweezers to help me with that little section, but okay, worked out good. I got that. I'm gonna figure out something. You know, I may not do anything else with this little space here, because I might do like a little hearth right here. Probably what I'll do is take the egg cartons, like what I did here, and just do a little flat stone. I'll build it up on a piece of mat board and put it right there. So, one of the things I need to, sometimes I don't write down what my thought process is, y'all, and then I forget what I was going to do. So, look, guys, look, look, look. We have a room. We have carpeting. We have windows. We have doors. We have accomplished so much. This looks like the real Lucy apartment, doesn't it? I hope y'all see the vision. I hope you do. We're going to have a plant in here. So again, I'm not stressing over all that little nonsense going on in there because it is nonsense. So don't look in there. So that's what we're going to get accomplished this week. I did do a lot of work this week to get all of these walls finished. I did the painting. I painted the trim there because in Lucy's apartment picture, I've lost my picture, y'all. Here it is. You can see they only had the chair rails in a couple of places. So that's why I just did it right there on that wall because I thought it looked nice. My husband thought he was funny and he said, oh, that door's supposed to be at an angle. Y'all remember that whole conversation about that door being at an angle? I said, I don't want to hear it. The door is flat. We're going for 90-degree angles in this house. So that's what we've got. You know, again, I think the idea is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be 100% just like the layout of Lucy's. apartment, but it gives you the feel of Lucy's apartment, which is what we're going for, right? We want the feel of that apartment, and then we're going to go for the look of it with our miniatures that we put in here. So I think we are ready to get started on building furniture next week. I'm super excited. Here is our piano. I have to fiddle with that to get it in there because it is a tight squeeze. But you see, that's going to cover up all of that. We'll have the curtains in next week. I promise. I'm going to figure out those curtains because honestly, y'all, I really need this to work to clean them because I only had a fat quarter of this fabric. I have looked and looked at the dollar store since I bought this one and have not found any more. So I'm hoping that I can fix it because I want to use the rest of my fat quarter for one of my chairs. So we'll see how that works. I know it probably drives y'all nuts that I just don't measure everything and look at everything precisely, but that's just not the kind of crafter I am. You know, I love to create. I don't love to measure. I don't love to do all that stuff. I do pre-plan things, just probably not as well as I should, because that's why you redo walls when you mess up. And but that's okay because it turned out it came together in the end, right? So I hope you guys love it. I hope you guys are ready for us to decorate, because I tell you what I'm ready for. I'm ready to get started on that kitchen, but we are going to finish this living room before I do that, because I am going to see this project through and get us some furniture in here and just start to feel like we're in Lucy's apartment, because I think we're getting really close, guys. So tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me anything you think I should add, take away. What are you thinking about? When you look at this room, what do you think about? Okay. Now, I do want to show you, because you can't see it very well, but I do want to show you this wall. I did get the shelf in. It's not glued down yet. It's just sitting there. But that's what I did. So what I still also have to do here is these shutters. I have thought, I've toyed with the idea, y'all, because these are kind of hard to cut, but I haven't thought it all the way through yet. But I may try to find a way with mat board maybe to make the shutters, but I haven't decided yet, because I really do love these shutters. I just don't love the idea of cutting them down. So that is still up in the air. Okay. Now then, let me show you what I did on this kitchen wall. And y'all see, I can move this around. It's pretty sturdy. I mean, it is foam core, but it's pretty nice. So I mixed this color. I really wanted something a little lighter than this, but this is, I mixed and mixed. I put too much yellow in with my paint, and it was just going to take too much white. So I was like, well, you know what? We'll settle for this color. And so I did. So, and then this is where I was going to put those the blue trim, and I got to thinking, no, I didn't want blue trim in the kitchen. I want this to be white, because I have a really pretty green paper that I want to use, because when I look at the colorized version of this kitchen, it is a light yellow, which is fine. Yellow's not my favorite color, though, but it's fine. I feel like during the time frame in this era, yellow would have been a good kitchen choice, so I'm fine with it. I did spackle these. I've got to go back in and rough that up, sand it, but I'm not worrying about this side yet. We'll deal with this when we're dealing with the kitchen. I still have to put on the little push thing for the door and get that going. That's just sitting there. It's not in there all the way. I feel like that's just enough blue to tie it all together, but I really did want white trim in the kitchen, so I felt like this looked a lot better. So y'all, I had to cut more white trim, so I used up almost all my trim. I was sad, but I at least know where I can get it. It is a good price. You get 4 of those 18-inch strips for $3.49. I mean, you can't beat it. They did have a different one this last time when I went. I don't think I have it over here anywhere. It's just a little bit different design, but again, super nice. So here's the start of our kitchen. Look, we have one wall done in the kitchen. I do have the paint mix, so I won't have to mix more paint. I do have more gray paint so that I can get those strips painted in here. And there we go, guys. That's where we're at. I probably will put another little strip of tape or maybe just some glue right here in the fronts of these just to glue that down a little bit because I don't want it flapping up or anything. So I probably will do that. But guys, thank you so much for all of your wonderful comments. You guys really make my day. When I read those, sometimes I just tear up. I'm just like, y'all are the sweetest people ever. So I thank you so much for being on this journey with me, my YouTube journey, and then for Lucy's apartment, because I have been dreaming of making this apartment for a very long time. And to see it finally coming together really just makes my heart so happy. I think that it's coming together nicely. I think it gives us the illusion of Lucy's apartment without being perfection, right? So thanks, guys. So leave me any comments. I'll always respond back to you guys. And thanks so much for watching. And here's to getting 9 more subscribers. So thanks, friends. I'll see you next week where we'll be building furniture. I know we're ready for that.